Zack Snyder, a director who has become infamous within the pop culture community as the guy that made a dark and gritty Superman movie, a terrible team-up movie between two of the most popular superheroes of all time, and an extended cut of a Justice League movie that was just as bad as the original. Needless to say, Snyder can very easily split a fan base whenever he's working within a franchise, and this clip doesn't necessarily help that case.
It's a cool point of view to be like, my heroes are still innocent. My heroes didn't commit any atrocities. I'm like, that's cool, but you're living in a dream world, okay?
However, one thing I think we can all agree on is that Snyder is a visionary. He often has these grand ideas for his films and is always thinking 3 movies ahead. However, this often leads to him forgetting to actually make his films well written. It's a true Icarus story of flying too close to the sun, except in this case, even after crashing and burning, he keeps trying. And his most recent attempt to make a multimedia franchise is the movie Rebel Moon. The idea of this franchise actually goes all the way back to 1997, with Snyder wanting to make a franchise on the level of Star Wars. In fact, originally, the project was pitched to Disney and Lucasfilm as a Star Wars movie, to which Disney looked at the pitch and said, "I'm sorry, Zack, we have our own ideas on how to screw up this franchise." It was also pitched to Warner Brothers on several occasions as a movie and a video game, but all being rejected. However, eventually, Snyder worked out a deal with Netflix, and as of December 21st, 2023, his long-awaited film franchise starter finally released. And I can safely say, after watching this movie twice, that maybe all those rejections should have given Snyder a hint, because this movie sucks. Like, wow, I've not experienced something this aggravating in a long time. The film is the media equivalent of reading off a shopping list, as stuff happens with little to no connecting tissue, characters get no development, and the film does nothing to make you want to see more of this universe. You think I'm exaggerating? Well, believe me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why this Diet Star Wars makes me wish I was on the receiving end of the Death Star's laser beam. The movie opens up with a narration explaining the world we're going to be subjected to for 2 hours. The galaxy is ruled by a planet called the Mother World, which is run by the royal family. The Mother World has been ruthless over their lust for power, conquering every planet in their way. However, after the royal family gets assassinated from within, an army general named Belisarius takes over. With rumors of a rebellion sprouting up, the new ruler seeks to stomp them out before this resistance gains any momentum. We then cut to the hero of our story as they work on a farm while casting a silhouette and staring off into the distance. This is Kora, who is actually very similar to Luke Skywalker. You know, if you took out his personality, charm, goals, and anything that makes him remotely likable. Yes, she is the character that gets fleshed out the most, but that isn't really saying much considering that everyone else has the personality of binary code. In this opening scene, we learn a few things about Kora and the village she is staying at. For one, she has been staying for a couple seasons, so her backstory is still a mystery to a lot of people, and she is reluctant to call this place home. The village itself is a small farming community, which in turn has led to a simple way of living for these people. So when a Motherworld Imperium ship starts looking over their heads like Big Brother, panicking seems like it would be at the top of their to-do list. But before the Imperium departs from their ship, the village tries to figure out how to deal with this potential threat. And here we meet our next main character, Gunner. He oversees the harvest of the village and believes that they could sell their surplus harvest to the Imperiums for more than 2 times their value. But the village leader basically tells them to shut the hell up and that they will give the Motherworld nothing. Enter our film's villain, Attakus. He is an Imperium admiral who has been assigned the task of finding and putting a stop to the 2 rebellion leaders, Devra and Darian Bloodaxe. Apparently, they've been going around destroying the Motherland supply ports in this sector, which is what brings Attakus to this village with an offer. The village supplies his troops with any surplus grain that gets harvested, and in return, they will buy it for 3 times the market value. Which sounds like a pretty damn good deal. Until you remember that this guy looked like he was probably attacking France at the start of World War II. So he doesn't seem like the most trustworthy fellow. Hence why the village leader lies to Attakus, telling him that they barely harvest enough food for themselves. Which is a claim that is easily called out, considering that the villagers looked like they were walking on sunshine from the night before. So Attakus questions Gunner, who reveals that they do indeed have a small surplus they could provide his men. As a punishment for the lie, Attakus kills the village leader, and gives Gunner the deal of what's going to happen.
In 10 weeks I shall return, and you shall have my 10,000 bushels prepared for my ship.
We barely produce 12,000 bushels. We'll starve to death. I don't understand what you want.
Oh, it's simple. I want everything.
Now, I'm no military strategist or anything, but even Helen Keller could see that Attakus' plan was short-sighted. Your long-term goal is to catch the Blood Axe siblings, but in order to do that, you need to make sure your soldiers don't starve, right? You also don't know how long it's going to take to catch them, so why not make sure the village stays alive so you don't need to worry about another food shortage? And if they eventually have second thoughts, well, you have the firepower that can wipe out their entire bloodline before breakfast. Like, they really aren't a threat to you. Anyway, a small squadron of Imperium soldiers stay behind to make sure everything goes smoothly. Not wanting to get involved with the Motherworld, Kora prepares to flee, but is stopped when she hears the soldiers getting ready to have their way with one of the young farm girls. Not willing to turn her back on someone in danger, Kora grabs an axe and participates in a special fighting style that I call the Snider Slowmo. In the Snider Slowmo, everything looks more epic. That is until you realize that he uses it in every single action scene. Like, is it too much to ask for one fight at regular speed the whole way through? But that's just the initial reaction when experiencing the Snider Slowmo, because when you look a bit deeper, you realize many of the fight scenes make zero sense. Look at this farm fight, for example. Throughout this entire ordeal, not one soldier thinks, hey, let me just take a step back and pull a gun on this girl. Nope, everyone just charges her one at a time. Or in this case, where the general has the farm girl hostage, doesn't shoot a single shot at Kora. But honestly, probably wouldn't have mattered anyway, considering Kora can apparently dodge blaster bolts like she has the damn force. Like, look at these firefights she gets into throughout the movie. She's literally just rushing with no cover. How the f*** is she able to do this? And you know what? If the movie called this out, it would be less of a problem. Just something like Gunnar asking how she's able to get out of those fights without a scratch. At least then there would be some implication of a sci-fi reason that she's able to do this. But instead, nobody bats an eye. So after killing all the soldiers, Kora realizes that the village is now forced to defend themselves against the Motherworld. So she and Gunnar have their mission. Find the Blood Axe siblings and ex-Motherworld General Titus in hopes that they will help defend the village. Yeah, Gunnar is tagging along, and not because of any guilt he may feel of getting the village leader killed, but because he has an informant that could lead them to the Blood Axes. And yes, that is a waste of potential character development, but believe me, it becomes a running theme. Anyway, the two set off on their quest, and we finally get some backstory for Kora. For context, when she was a child, the Motherworld ravaged her planet, killing her entire family. During the destruction, she runs into the general and soon-to-be leader of the motherland, Belisarius, who probably won't be leader for very long, considering that this is what he did with his first encounter with Kora. What is the purpose of this? Was it to prove that she'd be worthy to take her under his wing? Did he just feel like f***ing around and finding out that day? Because Kora was the one who picked up the gun. He doesn't know if it's empty or not. So what if she blasted his face into the stratosphere? Again, this is another easy fix. Just after the shot doesn't go off, we have Belisarius slyly show that he removed the ammo clip. I don't get it. Anyway, as a kid, Kora was trained by Belisarius to be a ruthless soldier, but something happened that caused her to leave the Imperium. That's all we get for now as our heroes arrive at Mos Eisley, Providence, where we see Gunnar's informant be taken by bounty hunters. So they take their chances at a bar full of sketchy individuals and mercenaries. Ignoring the blatant parallels this scene has with A New Hope, Kora's plan for finding General Titus boils down to just asking the entire bar if anyone has information on him.
I'm looking for information. Has anyone here heard of General Titus or know where he might be?
Of course, General Titus.
That's your plan?
That's my plan.
This guy is f***ing stupid.
She has no leads, no intuition, nothing. Just got extremely lucky that the first bar they went to had someone who not only had the information, but even Titus's most likely location. So because this movie was inspired by Star Wars, let's compare how this goes in A New Hope. Obi-Wan and Luke start off their adventure with a message from Leia. Obi-Wan already knows that they need to go to Alderaan, so all they really need is a ship, and finding someone with their own ship is a lot easier than someone who happens to know the location of this random old general. And this becomes a running theme throughout Rebel Moon, to where everything just ends up going their way. They end up recruiting several people to help defend the village, and all of them join without any pushback. It makes the movie feel like it's merely crossing names off a list, rather than forming a team. Going back to A New Hope, in order to even get a ship, Obi-Wan has to offer Han Solo a metric assload of credits. Then, once they get to Alderaan, they end up getting caught in the Death Star's tractor beam, forcing them to pull off a makeshift rescue. These road bumps are essential, as it not only makes the plot more interesting, but also gives you a chance to develop your characters. See how they react to certain conflict and how they would work off of each other when put into high pressure situations. Here we get nothing except a shootout at the bar, more Snider Slowmo,
Shut!
followed by Kora being saved by a man named Kai, who just so happens to have a ship and is willing to help them for very little pay. Sure, why not? Kai even convinces Kora and Gunner to make a few pit stops, as he may know a few people that could help their cause. Starting with this brick of a man named Taro. He is currently working off a debt for the owner of this homestead. Our crew doesn't really have the money for his freedom, so the owner makes what might possibly be the dumbest deal in history of deals. The terms are this: if Taro is able to ride this griffin-looking beast, then he is free to go. If not, the entire crew will work for him. Now let me explain why this plan is dumber than a bag of bricks. Under these circumstances, yes, if Taro fails, then the owner gets more unpaid workers. But if Taro does manage to succeed in riding the griffin, how does that benefit you? This ain't Minecraft where all you have to do is tame the horse and it will immediately let anyone ride it with no problem. On the surface, this looks fair. Each side gets a benefit if they win. But it shouldn't be fair. The owner has all the negotiating power, and he isn't exactly the nicest person. He should be making a deal that benefits him either way. Taro isn't gonna run away, as he puts it.
I have a debt on my name, and I honor my debts.
So I don't get why the owner is so stupid to make this kind of deal. Anyway, Taro agrees and manages to ride the griffin in slow motion.
Shut!
His debt is paid and leaves with the crew as the griffin kills the owner for his stupidity. Next stop is, but wait, you didn't talk about Taro at all. Aren't you going to explain his background or his history or something? You see, normally I would. However, there's this one tiny problem, and that is we are told nothing about Taro. We don't know why he agreed to join the crew, his history. Hell, we barely even know his personality. He has at most 10 lines in this movie, and most of them was him talking to a f***ing bird. Taro talks to one character after his recruitment, and it's at the end of the movie. Are you f***ing high? What's the point of adding this character if you're not going to do anything with him? Yeah, in A New Hope, we didn't get a lot of backstory from Han Solo outside of his debt to Jabba, but he had such a big personality and actually contributed to the plot. Taro is the character equivalent of a tissue, used once and then tossed aside, never to be thought of again. But this is the only character they do this with, right? That would be moronic on a different scale if they did this to every character who joins them, right? Right? Anyway, after recruiting Discount Conan here, our heroes head to meet the swordswoman only known as Nemesis. She agrees to join because why wouldn't she? But first has to help this mother whose child has been taken by a spider woman. She tries to talk to her first, but is forced to fight with more Snider Slowmo.
Shut!
So after all the slow-mo, stupid kids not running to safety, and no one attempting to help the bitch out, seriously, what the hell are you guys doing? Nemesis manages to kill the Spider-Woman. However, she feels no honor in this kill, as she sees the Spider-Woman as a victim of circumstances. The planet's environment was preventing her own children from being born, and anyone with the right push could have turned out the same way as her.
I deserve justice.
There is a difference between justice and revenge.
There's no honor in this. This could easily be any of you lying here in the gutter of some forgotten world.
Okay, alright, we're starting off better than Taro. She has this whole honor thing, and she places a hard distinction between vengeance and justice. It's not a lot, but it's a start. So what else do we get out of Nemesis in this movie? Yeah. Oh, nothing. Yeah, but no, seriously, what else we get? You serious? But doesn't she talk to any of the other characters? Movie, what the f*** is wrong with you? What is your obsession of just throwing in characters into this crew without doing any work to develop them? I hate to sound like a broken record, but once again, we don't know anything about Nemesis besides the fact that she uses these off-brand lightsabers. How does she fit into the group? Does she butt heads with anyone based on her conflicting ideals? What's her favorite color? I don't know. Just give me something more than just a damn Pokedex entry. Okay, no, you know what? This is fine. This is fine, because we are finally arrived at the planet where General Titus is at. He has been the main guy Kora has been searching for to help the village, and after cleaning his drunk ass up, Titus rejects the offer, saying he feels massive regret for the men who died under his command, especially from his surrender. So Kora now has to figure out a way to convince this stubborn, war-hardened general to change his mind.
I'm here to make you an offer, to give you a chance at redemption. What about all the dead men you once commanded? If not redemption, what about revenge?
One line. One generic line, and he's on board. No, it is fine. It's fine, because the reason he's joining the crew completely flies in the face of Nemesis' belief. You know, the whole difference between vengeance and justice thing, so let's see what happens there. Why aren't you cutting the clip? No. No, there has to be. He's the main person Kora was searching for, and he doesn't interact with anyone?
I expect nothing, and I'm still let down.
Okay. You know what? Excuse me. I need a minute. This is pathetic. The fact that this is your ragtag group of rebels is insulting to not just the audience, but any entity with cognitive function. And I know exactly why it is done this way, because Snyder is always thinking 3 movies ahead. Remember, Rebel Moon is only part 1. Part 2's trailer is already out, and it seems to have backstories for characters like Nemesis and Titus. But to where a normal person would be like, hey, let's only use essential characters and give them development, Snyder says, let's include every character from every movie in this miserable debut of a franchise. This is like if in A New Hope, along with the original characters, they also included Lando, Yoda, and Admiral Akbar. What makes this worse is that this fetch quest of grabbing new pawns is the entire second act of the movie. The entire second act has come and passed, and we have learned nothing about any of these bargain bin characters. Hey look, it's our villain Attakus. Remember him? Good thing too, I almost forgot that this movie was supposed to have a plot. He's with Gunner's informant that was taken at the start of the movie, who gives him the possible location of the Blood Axe siblings, which just so happens to be where our heroes are currently landed. Well, I guess we're done with the villain. And look who has finally arrived. Devra and Darian Bloodaxe. Ooh, new characters to potentially join the party. Hold up, let me pull out my Rebel Moon character checklist to see if they're eligible to join. Let's see, initially hesitate, so that's a check. One line is enough to convince them to change their mind, oh that's a double check. Doesn't interact with any other character for the rest of the movie, and that is a check. Congratulations, you and the rest of your willing crew are welcome to join this party of wooden planks to fight a villain whose only display of strength has been killing 3 unarmed individuals. So, Darian joins the party and...
Why would he agree to help you?
Oh my god. It can't be. No. Is this actually happening? A scene is actually trying to develop its characters? Everyone remain calm. There is no need to panic, as this heart-to-heart Kai has with Kora is more hollow than the Grand Canyon. For context, Kai questions Kora on why Bloodaxe would join her on what is most likely a suicide mission, and we get this exchange.
Guilt. It's a powerful thing.
Aye, guilt. The underbelly of honor. I think I might have had that once. I got 10, 15 more seasons at most for I steal from the wrong man. It's really your fault anyway. Making me want to be an honorable man.
Now, in a better movie, this questioning of honor would hit harder because this character flaw would have been set up much earlier. However, because Rebel Moon wants to do no such thing, this sudden talk and subsequent playfulness comes out of nowhere, like in The Rise of Skywalker. It's actually so sneaky on why this scene exists, because here's what happens. Kai tells Kora that before he joins them, he has to drop off some stolen cargo first. So the crew lands and starts unloading the ship, until the cargo transforms and captures all the rebels in one fell swoop. That's right, Kai betrayed them, meaning that this scene was only put there as a way to try and make you think that this betrayal was more impactful than what it actually was. Look, Kora is crying, saying things like, "What about honor?" as if they had developed a friendship with each other, when this is the only scene they shared together. So rather than this scene being like Lando's betrayal in Empire Strikes Back, where Han talks about his history with Lando and the movie makes him come across as trusting and excited to see Han and Chewie again, only to sell them out, we instead get the most bland, artificial betrayal I have ever seen put to film. Because, once again, these characters never interact with each other. So now Attakus and the Imperium have them right where he wants them. He goes through listing off every character and why they would rebel, because, you know, now is a good time to get background information. But what I want you all to remember is what Kai and Attakus says about Kora.
Then there was you, Kora. Or should I call you Arthaleus?
Now I thought I'd recognize something in you. Most wanted fugitive in the known universe. Scar giver.
You got that, right? Kora is most wanted fugitive in the galaxy, right? You got that? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this clip and we're going to save it for a future meltdown that's bound to happen later in the video. So Kai takes Gunner and tries to force him to kill Kora. But as if the speed of the Flash was coursing through his veins, Gunner disengages the gun, turns it on Kai while freeing Kora and allowing her to make the first strike, all before the Imperium could shoot a single shot. What the f*** is that? So this is the final battle. Yeah, forget protecting the village. We are doing this on a random planet with no emotional stakes. The Imperium seems to have the upper hand, especially with this f***off big ship targeting them. So, guess what character sacrificed themselves to give the rebels a fighting chance? This guy. That's right, the last character to join the crew, and has had a grand total of 5 lines in this entire movie, sacrificed himself to destroy the ship, and it's made out to be this big and emotional moment, when I guarantee nobody that watched this movie gave a flying f*** about his death. So now this gives the opportunity for Kora to charge through the enemy fire without taking any cover in slow motion, and have a final showdown with Attakus, whose ass she kicks so easily, you think she's playing on recruit difficulty. So that was the final fight of the movie, and
this was a blow to the mother world, what we did this day. Criminals! Nobody's standing against a machine of war. This small act of defiance gives voice to the voiceless.
Oh, shut the hell up! Don't act like y'all came together to create something. Half of you did nothing significant in the fight. Hell, along with Blood Axe, Titus was talked up to being this big asset, but instead he did f*** all during the conflict. God, that may have been the dumbest thing you could have possibly have said.
I've been wondering, is what that dead bounty hunter said true? That you're Arthaleus?
Kai was a liar and a thief who nearly sold you all for a profit.
What?
Kai was a liar and a thief who nearly sold you all for a profit. Anything more you want, General?
Don't call me General.
Okay, I guess it's time. Roll the clip.
Now I thought I'd recognize something in you. Most wanted fugitive in the known universe. Scar giver.
So, if Kora is the most wanted fugitive in the galaxy, can someone explain to me, can someone please explain how the f*** did nobody recognize her throughout the entire film? Not with the bar with all the bounty hunters, not with Nemesis, who has killed several high-ranking Imperium officers, not even with f***ing Titus, who used to be a goddamn general. You're telling me nobody recognized the most wanted fugitive in the galaxy? F*** off. On top of that, Kora's excuse in this scene makes me believe that everyone here is a few chromosomes short of a full DNA strand. Sure, Kai potentially was lying, but what purpose does Attakus have to lie? He said it right there. Did no one hear him? Are they deaf? No, screw this. We are wrapping this up right now. The film ends with our heroes returning to the village, Attakus is revived, and is commanded by Belisarius to stop the rebellion in Kora, or it's his head, setting up the conflict for part 2. I guess. So that is Rebel Moon. It sucks, it sucks, it sucks, it f***ing sucks. I haven't had a movie make me this frustrated since Thor Love and Thunder. The characters are pointless. You know nothing about their wants, desires, or anything that would make them a fraction likable. The plot is boring as sin, as half the movie is just collecting new party members. And the villain is so unintimidating that I'd be more scared of a damn puppy. the moment he goes up against anyone with actual fighting skills, he folds. Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's make the villain that we're probably going to be having over multiple movies a fucking joke. And this is the problem with Zack Snyder. He's so fixated on creating these big universes and potential franchises that he ends up forgetting that in order to get people on board with a universe, you need to make them fall in love with the characters. And every time he has tried to do this, he has failed, because rather than focusing on making one good movie, his ambition ends up leading to an unfocused mess. It happened in Batman v Superman, it happened in the Justice League, and Rebel Moon is just his most recent waste of time that I have been forced to sit through. Rebel Moon sucks, and no extended cut is gonna change that. Anyway, what do you guys think of Rebel Moon? Did you guys like it? If you didn't, let me know down in the comment section down below. Also, thank you to the Crimson Effer on Patreon. And I really appreciate the support, my guy. It really means a lot. And you got this video 24 hours early. Or maybe a little more than 24 hours early. You got it a day early. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys liked it and new to the channel, hit that like and that subscribe button. Also, to think the channel's potential, hit the same buttons. Anyway, my name is G.I.Gio. I will talk to y'all later. Peace. I can't do a clap. It's late. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. Peace.